Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more. And if it's Tuesday, that means we're live and we're streaming on over 100 outlets around the world. This is one of those great shows that I've been looking for because it was supposed to be a whole nother show with just Jeremy and a couple other people on. But our friend, Kenny Arnoff, he had to go on tour. He got called. He's one of the, for 5 years in a row, he's the world's best rock and roll drummer. So we had to schedule him for July 30th. So Jeremy's on this week, he's on next week, and he's on the 30th. So we've actually kidnapped him for like the next 3 out of 4 weeks. And I hope he's okay with that. But he's worth it because he's a cool guy. But here's the thing about this. I got to thank Susan Post for allowing me to come back into her house because I used to live here with her for a little bit. So it's fun to be here. We're in separate rooms because I like it that way. But the great thing about this, we're always broadcasting live on Talk4 Media, Talk4 TV, K4 HD Radio, and over 100 outlets around the world. And this is show number 115th in a row. And I'm very, very happy about that because I don't know how long I can keep it going, but I'm going to do my best. And the thing about this is special because Howard Wiggins is back from Brentwood, Tennessee. I had him take off last week because we had a strange show, which ended up being very interesting. Rebel will say that. Susan was on it. I didn't want him expose him to anything that his delicate Tennessee ears couldn't go for. So the other good thing about this, our good friend Carol Register is back, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. We got Matt Blackton here, and something that I like to wear that I've been wearing ever since CES that no one really knows about, and I kind of like it to a point because everybody asks me no matter where I am. And then the strange exotic woman that I met on a red carpet for Dances with Films. I'm going to have her introduce herself and talk about what she does because I actually like her style. And I decided to have her styling me because I can't style to save my life. I want to be like Howard. I want to be like Jeremy, but it's one of those things. So, all right. So, Jeremy, we get to start off with you because you get to introduce yourself. 90 seconds. Go for it.
All right. My name is Jeremy Van Wert. I'm the host of the Mindful Mutiny Show, where we talk to individuals who are living above the status quo and experiencing the highest version of themselves. We talk about psychedelic healing. We talk about spirituality. We talk about health. We talk about business. We talk about music. And I'm a transformational specialist, and I work with people to overcome personal limitations, to explore their deepest selves, and to use psychedelic medicine to dive deep into their consciousness. And that was 36 seconds.
And I like that because he's got a great, I like his mindful podcast. I like to refer people to him. I want to, if he likes, Ivanna, who doesn't, it'll be one of the great things because I love his interviews. They're very detailed. And I just love what he does. He does what I couldn't have time to do. And I think that's why I like him. Carol Register, let's talk about you and welcome back to Planet Earth because Carol was on the last show. Something happened to her a little bit before, and then turns out that something happened to her afterwards. And it wasn't our show, but it was one of the things where, I'll let Carol talk about what she is because she's very special to me and I really like what she does. Carol, go for it.
Hi, thank you. It's so nice to be here. Listen, you are where you are right now because of the way you think. What is it that you're really wanting? What is it that you're really wanting to manifest in your life? And even with a high level of success and wealth like I've had, you may still be struggling with limiting beliefs. I'm a certified master neurocoach, an international business owner, and I love combining principles of wealth to help you break through and heal your limiting money stories. And what Brian is referring to is sometimes life catches us off guard, no matter how well we think we're doing. I had a heart attack, and I don't mind sharing it here publicly. It was a big surprise, took me off guard because, I think of myself as a high achiever, and I walk the talk that I actually share with all of you in using neuroscience to remove your limiting beliefs. So how did this happen to me? Not being able to create the reality that I want in that way. Well, I have amazing answers for you. I've been learning so much and diving deep. So thanks for having me, Brian.
Hey, welcome back to Planet Earth. So with that, we got to go to Susan Post. Susan, let's talk about this book that we didn't get a chance to talk about last week, even though it was near both of us. Talk about that, who you are, volleyball and everything.
Okay, so I was in sales for decades, too many decades, and a lot of that experience at the same time, I was also studying personal empowerment. And so I wrote the book, Empowered Communication, C-Suite and Sales Edition, because I really wanted to reach out to those corporate guys who might not look at a kind of a spiritual book if it didn't have a corporate sounding sales title. And I'm about to release Empowered Communication, Let's Get Personal. And I'm also about to release a workbook that goes with them. Volleyball, I played pro volleyball for a while. I represented Canada in the FIVB. And then I moved to the US, played some AVP tournaments, and still played this morning at 6:30 with my friends at the beach. Play almost every day. And so that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. And really, I also studied hypnosis and worked a bit in performance hypnosis. And the workbook that I created is actually utilizing principles of hypnosis. There are specific exercises to do the first thing when you wake up, as well as right before you go to sleep, because at those 2 times a day, you're essentially in a bit of a state of hypnosis.
And Jeremy, she'll fill in a bunch of the blanks that she probably didn't get a chance to fill in when you guys had your interview. And she popped back on. I didn't set this up. It just kind of happened. And with that, now we're doing our full Hollywood Squares. So you guys don't know. I have 12 co-hosts, all women except for me and Howard. And then I have a few alternates. So I never know who's going to pop in, even though I kind of know. So we have to welcome nonstop Terry Marie. Terry Marie's back from Florida in California.
Hi,
and we will get to her in a minute. So I wanted to go to Howard. Howard's probably got a 10-second delay. Who knows? Because he's in Tennessee. Sometimes he has issues there, storms. Howard, tell him who you are and what you're doing.
I'm Howard Wiggins. I was one of the world's 35 leading interior designers. I was in Andrew Martin, Volume 3 book. I have a Christmas book coming out in September by Patricia Hart McMillan that features my home. I've got some movies coming up that I don't know when they're going to come up, but I'm on the list to be in them. I'm going to be in Diana Firefly's book where I play a voice of a rabbit called Nigel. My dad was on Little Roy Wiggins that played steel guitar on the Grand Ole Opry. And I've got a furniture style that I call stacked and layered that I'm kind of titling it myself, which is a new design trend I'm hoping to push. So that's it.
And Terry Marie, nonstop. Tell them who you are, where you are now.
Hi, everyone. This is Terry Marie. I am actually in Calabasas today. I just flew back from Florida. I was there in Clearwater, St. Pete area for 10 days visiting friends. We had a blast. We owned my friend's boat. We went to dinner. I don't know. It just was a fun time. It's always a good thing to get away and spend time with friends. Even though I'm so busy, it's crazy. But I've been with Brian since, for 10 years, I think now, Brian. I do a lot of the red carpet hosting for Brian, like celebrity events. I'm a fitness competitor. I also am a trainer, an artist, an actress, and then I'm also in the field of orthopedics and medical sales. So that's why I'm nonstop.
All right. Exotic, we get to talk about you now. I've been waiting for this. I kind of set her up. I find her interesting. I like her style. Howard, I was telling her about you a little bit, and vice versa, because Howard's the dapper one here, besides Jeremy. Like I said, I can't dress to save my life, so I decided to take her on and see how good she can make me look even better. So I want to talk about what makes you good, because I love your style. I like what you do. I'm glad we got a chance to meet. It was fascinating to talk to you, and I'm glad that we're friends now. Go for it.
Thank you, Sebastian. I don't want to call you Sebastian, but okay.
You can call me Sebastian.
Lovely to connect with you all. Nice to connect with you, Howard. And I can see why he thinks that you've got a dapper look. Love the hat. Lovely to connect with you all. I'm an Australian-based fashion stylist, now living in LA. I've been here 2.5 years. I'm an advocate for self-expression and confidence. And the reason why my clients hire me is because I transform not only their style, but their confidence from the inside out. Working with celebrities, but I love working with everyday people and elevating their personal brands. So that's what makes me a little bit more unique than other stylists. I have a very special process that I take my clients on. It's not just putting clothes on you. It's actually taking you through a little bit of like a spiritual, intuitive journey to basically bring out your authenticity. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, she's got a lot more to that. She's very feisty too, and I kind of like that, so which was interesting. So,
Yes.
and we'll get to that feistiness because she speaks the truth and she's very honest, and that's what I like. So, Matt and Nicholas, let's talk about this. Let's go back to January CES. I was walking the floor with my scooter, like I always do when I'm not supposed to, but I always do because I like breaking the rules. I can't follow them to save my life. But it was one of these things where I had my Air around, so I go on and wear both of them, and Matt was wearing, everywhere, and I like that. So he's, what is this? And I go, what is that you have? And so he described it with us because I'm always looking for great technology, things that people don't have, things that we may need. And so when you have allergies and other things like that, I'm getting ahead. Matt and Nick, you could take away from this. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, my name's Matthew Blanchard, and Nick's my partner. And Nick actually founded the thing, and I'm in charge of trying to go sell this. And what we're trying to do is bring protection and comfort to the everyday wearer and the people who actually need it, so that heavy travelers, anyone immunocompromised, anyone who's going to need extra protection or wants better comfort, that's what we're trying to bring out here. And the show is a great opportunity for us to show it to more people.
And Nicholas, talk about this. What made you create this? Because I like it, because I love wearing it on planes. I wear it through airports, no matter where I'm going, because there's a lot of things out there, whether people believe it or not. Colds, different types of viruses and allergies and things like that. Why did you create this? Why do I like it?
Well, thank you, and thanks for having us on. So the idea actually came years ago. It's not the best story, but my grandmother was going through chemotherapy at the time, and after one of her appointments, when we picked her up from the hospital, she'd contracted the flu while she was there. And something about getting sicker while you were at the hospital didn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, I feel like that's where you're supposed to go to get healthy, right? But if you really think about it, being sick is kind of the price of admission at a hospital. So, you're there at your most vulnerable, but everybody around you is also very vulnerable and, off-gassing all kinds of pathogens. And that was kind of where the idea stemmed from. And then obviously once COVID hit, it really became, much more of a general public type product, because, again, originally, keeping her safe from, the others in the room, kind of, spurned this whole notion. Well, even if you're in an airplane, if you're traveling somewhere, if you're walking through the grocery store, you never really know when you're going to come into close contact with somebody who could, be transmitting something dangerous. And the real idea behind it is, so it uses a UVC light to actually kill pathogens, viruses in the air. And, what's great about that is, when it comes to your general pathogens, strep, staph, all these things, there's thousands of different kinds. And, this is a way that it's kind of, it attacks each of those pathogens. It's not that you have to kind of hone in on, okay, well, what's in the air that could, get me sick today? It's more about, comprehensively, well, if we're, bringing down the viral load of all these different things you could be breathing in, it just keeps you, safer on a day-to-day basis.
Hey, Jeremy, talk about this. And I'm glad that you and Carol are on, because you guys like each other. So again, this is kind of, the Hollywood squares that I like to do that. And then, Susan and Carol know each other from Easy Way, obviously, too. So, and then Terry, I get the gang up on you because I wanted Jeremy. Jeremy was going to be on here. Carol, I wanted to be on here. I didn't know I was going to be at Susan's house because we were going to be in the studio. So I'm like, well, they get to educate Terry on good things because she's doing really good. I couldn't be happier for my friend. She's come a long way, and I really am proud of her. When we talk 6 to 8 times a day. Yes, we talk 6 to 8 times a day, and I don't mind talking to my friend that many times because weird things are happening out there. So that's good. So Jeremy, talk about what's been happening with you and Mindful Mutiny, because I love chiming in to see what you have, just like what Carol does too.
Yeah, firstly, I'm just really captivated by this apparatus that you can wear to help you with, just basically being in crowds. I see this helping people who have agoraphobia, like these different things. I don't go out because there's these germs and everything like that. So I think that it has a lot of application for people who are maybe struggling with being around other people, particularly in the post-COVID era. So I think this is really, really interesting. And as far as what's going on with Mindful Mutiny, the podcast is growing and growing, and I've had some really interesting interviews with. Most recently, and this is going to be coming out very soon, I interviewed a shaman who does ayahuasca retreats, and I interviewed him about his ayahuasca retreats, and then I went and I did ayahuasca with him the very first time in my life, and then brought him back on to the podcast for him to interview me about my experience doing ayahuasca. And so I have this 2-part series coming out in the late part of July here about the entire experience. And for those who don't know what ayahuasca is a sacred plant medicine from the Amazon that is only supposed to be used in ceremony with an experienced facilitator who has been initiated into it. And it is something that really puts you deep into a place of healing, and you can have incredibly spiritual experiences using this medicine. And so I'm really looking forward to these 2 episodes coming out, because they not only were transformative for me, but I think they provide a lot of context for plant-based medicine, ayahuasca, and the proper caring of people who are doing medicine like this.
Wow.
See, I love that. That's great.
Me too.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is. His Mindful Mutiny. I love. And Jeremy, talk about your channel, because your channel is growing really quickly. Your YouTube channel.
It really is. It's really fun to see. And July's a tough month for podcasts, but I am seeing a lot of these episodes growing and growing. And we've put out a new kind of look for the whole thing, and the gentleman that I have working on the editing is just doing an amazing job. What I just enjoy is that I get to sit there and have these natural conversations with incredible people who are talking about their inventions, who are talking about the incredible things that they're doing to help human beings. And and 2 hours fly by, and I go, I guess we ought to kind of end it. This is a long podcast, but it's just naturally fun. And people ask me, well, do you have questions that you're going to be asking me? And I just go, no, we're going to have a conversation. We're just going to make it happen. And it ends up being a really fun conversation each time.
So Matt and Ivanna and Nicholas, that's why I like his, because they're thorough. He'll ask you a lot of things that I might not get a chance to ask, because we're 50 minutes live, but I'm tired of doing a lot of Zooms like as of 2 years ago. It'll be one of those things where I look forward to those things, because I like what he's doing. And the same thing with Carol. Carol, talk about your views, because you changed a couple things around now. Ivanna, we'll come back to you in a minute.
Yeah, it's so cool about the ayahuasca. And I also want to mention to Matthew and Nicholas, and during the pandemic, I wore some kind of device. I don't remember the brand name, but I believe it was ozonating. It had UV light, and it just made me feel good when I was flying back and forth, when flights were really few and far between. And, there was a lot of fear in the air. And so you're reminding me all about that. I put the device away. I have no idea where it is. And so it's really exciting to find out about this, because I'm getting on an international flight in the morning. To your question, Brian, Unleashed and Unstoppable is our podcast. And Brian's been teaching me some things about the viewership process. And I now realize we've had more than 2.5 million views on the show, which is pretty exciting. So I'm very thankful for that. And I do want to mention I'm having a masterclass tomorrow on Heal Your Limiting Money Stories. I'm going to do a whole series of them where you walk away with 3 actionable tips on changing those limiting money stories, such as fear of losing it, into something that is a real financial win for you. So register on Facebook. I hope you'll join me.
And Carol, before we get to Ivanna, talk about how we met. Why did we meet? It was, you were in that 1% or whatever it was that I talk about that. That's important.
Yeah, we met in the Easy Way Network. Shout out to Eric Zuli. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was in a breakout room, right, Brian? Is that the first
Yeah,
time we
it
met?
was. Yeah, it was what you were doing before we
Yeah.
met, and I found that fascinating.
Yeah.
It,
Okay, you're jogging my brain here. So it was about the neuroscience. It was about the removing of the limiting beliefs. You were really excited about that and wanted to dive in and see what was possible. And the thing is, it's so cool. These tools are so incredibly simple that we can use to literally reprogram not only our brains, but it's our entire nervous system. And it elevates all of us, as you know, Jeremy. Like anytime you start to work in one area of your life, a rising tide raises all boats, JFK said. You actually elevate all the areas. So, yeah, did I remember that right, Brian? I'm sitting here, it's like a test question. I'm going, wait, what did I
well,
do?
and the great thing about this, Susan, is that she only got out of the hospital not that long ago. It was she was on a show I think 2 weeks ago, and then because I usually call people if I have their numbers just to say what was the experience, and then she like after I hung up, like literally 15 seconds or 15 minutes, like you called the ambulance, I think, right?
Yeah, actually, we got off the show and in June, and while I was talking to Brian, he called me. My heart started hurting. It had been hurting the day before, and I had this gut feeling like call 911. I was alone, and it lasted a pretty good while. And then when I got to the emergency room, I actually went back into active heart attack, which was perfect because they were able to do the EKG, draw the blood, and see exactly what was going on, what I'd been telling them. So it's been a good wake-up call. I've been the frog on the boil in some areas, so it's been a really good reminder. Yeah.
And the strangest thing about that was like, that's why I call and check on my friends all the time because, oh my God, when I was where am I? I'm in California now. What, a week ago, I was in Tennessee for like a month. I'm going back there Thursday for a couple of days, and I'm going to Georgia like right after that. Then I'm going to Chicago right after that. Every time I'm traveling, something's happening to my friends. John Lando from, man, what's the guy's name? My friend's name, I can't even remember. He directed Titanic. James Cameron, his producer of 30 years died. He was only 63. I mean, every day I'm hearing more about these things. This is why I love wearing this in my air and doing the things that I'm doing because I've never gotten COVID or any of that stuff like that. I used to get run down, but I wasn't taking vitamins with all the stuff that I was doing. So now that I'm actually taking vitamins and I'm 63, I feel better with stuff. Just those little changes there, here and there. But I love educating people and just letting them know about the brands and things that people don't know about, like what Matt and Nick have, and then what Ivanna's doing, because I like to pick good things, and that's why I'm glad that Susan and Carol and Jeremy, even Howard and Terry and the other Rachel's not on tonight because she had a massive storm in Tennessee. In Texas, her power's out still, and the other two co-hosts, their power's out. So that's 3 million people with their power out, just in Texas.
Wow.
So I like to let them, know about all of these things that are happening. Anything that we can do to protect them, that's what we're here for. You want to talk about this? Talk about what made you stylish. And coming from Australia, and I love my Aussie friends. Not you, I'm only kidding. But talk about what that you brought some great movies over. You brought some great celebrities over that were still gawking over Russell Crowe. You just name them. They're still here. And without them now, our industry was getting battered until the Australians came in and just busted in the early 90s. And I thought that was great. So in my mind, you're like kicking off another wave.
Yeah, I feel like Aussies have this sense of like resilience and grit. Like we come over here and we're so far away from home that it's like sink or swim, right? So, we're quite laid back. I feel like Aussie is like a really, easy to get along with. We're quite friendly. We're quite easygoing. The accent helps as well, even though I think that you guys have the cool accent. So I think that sets us apart. But I mean, just like listening to what you guys are all up to, I'm super into wellness and biohacking and all these awesome little devices. Like I'm right down that path because when it comes to health and like wellness and, keeping your immune system, you know, at a decent level these days with everything that we've been through, I'm all for that. I'm all down that path. So to survive in the fashion industry and the entertainment industry, I definitely align with everything that you guys are talking about, especially what you were talking about, Carol, with like the limiting belief systems. I use things like hypnotherapy to kind of keep me in check. I've just recently started doing that, and I find that phenomenal. I wish I started it sooner. But it's just crazy how like certain belief systems are so ingrained, you know, and then when you realize where they actually come from, it's a whole other world of awareness, right? So I find it fascinating.
So we're going to show a couple photos in a minute in the video. So Matt and Nick, this is one reason why. Nick, remember when I talked to you in January? I said we're 4 months out. It's taken this long for us to get together, but they got their product into a couple places that you guys get to talk about now, haven't you?
Yep. Well, Matt's actually got the he's in charge of getting us into the different storefronts, so he can go ahead on that if you want to.
I mean, we've gotten lucky recently. I mean, CES was the springboard into a lot of things, and that's been day one when we turned on the website. But since then, the big thing that we've really been able to do is land a partnership with McKesson Medical Device Distribution. And that has really just opened the doorways into a lot of avenues. Now we have full access to essentially every healthcare facility around the country. And they're also really going to help us establish and distribute through many e-com platforms and medical e-com platforms. So McKesson has definitely been the big fish and the big win since we've started. And we also have a few other pieces that are in the works. We just launched on Amazon. We have a few e-com partners that also sell through various retail channels at the time. We're working with Best Buy and InMotion at the moment to try and get in stores and get some tests. So in the last, it's been 6 months since we hit go. A lot of good things have been happening. So really excited.
Hey, Nick, that's got to make you feel good, right?
It's been a long road, that's for sure. It's definitely nice to see some of these things start happening. Truth be told, when it comes to this product, some of the other things that I would consider in its space, some things like air ionizers, some of these other products, one of the things that always got me about them is, there's not necessarily universal acceptance. And I've always kind of felt like, if I were to create a product in that space, now here we are, it seems like you want to go through healthcare providers first. I feel like that, it lends, some credibility to the notion. If you're to, walk into, a hospital or a doctor's office and you see staff, nurses, doctors wearing this thing around, it much more is like, oh, okay, that's something that, could really be helping me. And, I feel like some of these other products, have gone more to the general public first. So I feel like that's kind of one of the strategies that we tried to approach. And that's why, like Matt was saying, it's been a really big deal for us to partner with McKesson, because again, opening the doors into these healthcare facilities really, like I said, gives us credibility. Then, moving over into the general consumer market, that, this isn't, just some toy, some thing that we hope helps, but that, the people that truly, understand how all of these, like Ivanna had said, like biohacking type, procedures, doctors obviously are going to understand how the viruses, how the pathogens, how the transmission of all that works better than your general public. So again, getting into those spaces has been really big for us. And then, like Matt said, now we've started to get into, the air purifier store, some other, e-commerce channels that are, helping to grow on the commercial side. But it's ever since CES was a kind of crazy experience, and ever since then it's been paying dividends, which is nice.
And for those people who don't know, CES is Consumer Electronics Show, and again, that's why we're the only ones on that Tuesday and the media day to broadcast live for that stuff. That's why I want that technology first. And again, it takes a while for people to come on because one, we're booked 4 months in advance, but two, there's a lot of things that they have to go through to get this. I'm like, let me talk about it now. I don't care if it's a piece of art or if it's Susan book. I want to talk about this stuff. I'm greedy. I want to get my hands on it right now. I want to be the first to have it, if that makes sense. And even with Ivanna, I'm like, are you coming on? You move your client to a side for like an hour. This is important. I wanted to showcase her what she does because I like her stuff. And then we're going to show a video of what you guys are. But Matt and Nick, Susan also works in the, with a lot of doctors. So does Terry.
I heard Terry's got a.
I'm in hospitals and I'm in hospitals every day. I work with the larger hospitals. I mean, I can't, for work reasons, there's a social media thing we had to sign, so I can't really talk about who I work for, but I work with McKesson. I work with Dignity, Kaiser, all the big ortho clinics, pain management. So I'm like, I would like to have some protection being in and out of hospitals every single day,
Susan?
Yeah, I worked in the medical device arena for really it was over 30 years. I hate to admit how old I am. McKesson's such a large, massive distributor. You couldn't have paired up with a better national distributor. And I just wanted to let you know, though, I really think you need to find a way to get one of these to Howie Mandel.
Yeah.
So I would find a way to get it to him. I bet you anything he'll wear it on the show. On
Howie, he would. Howie's a trip. Howie reminds me of Howard in a different way. I forgot all about that. Yeah, because before, going back to the early days, Howie would always not want to shake people's hands. I actually have his bubbled head still. And it was one of the things we would get together. We would walk by each other, we'd just nod. He goes, Brian, I'm not shaking your hand. Howard, I'm not shaking your hand either. I don't know what you have. And that became our running joke to like almost 20 years. I forgot all about that. Good point, Susan. So let's take a look at this video. And then, Howard, if your internet's still going on, we're going to talk about what you're wearing, what room you are. All right?
Okay. All right.
In a world where
All right,
viruses
Rebel.
and pathogens are a constant threat, clean air is more important than ever. AIRIWEAR is here to provide a solution. Our innovative product uses advanced technology, ensuring you breathe nothing but pure, clean air. Stay healthy, stay protected, and breathe easy with AIRIWEAR.
So that's why I take it cross country, because I don't trust planes. I don't trust buses and shuttles and all this stuff, especially when people are coming on and they're not, it's like it was before 2019. They're not washing their hands and stuff again. And that bothers me. But I like this trailer because it said a lot. But hey, Matt, I got to thank you for stopping me, because as I'm walking down, if you remember, I'm walking down the aisles with my scooter really quickly, like I'm a robot looking left and right. And he goes, what is that around your neck? I go, what is that you got? And that's how we met. And I'm like, when can I have one? I need it right away. And he goes, well, we'll work on it. But he finally got me one. And now you know why, Matt. Now you know why, Nick.
I think at that moment we only had 9.
I didn't care.
I know we got you one pretty quick.
No, they did. I was on them. And I'm still on them. Like, when you're coming back on? Because again, for me, I have a lot of friends passing away. They have bronchitis, they have arthritis, you name it. And I know things could help because I found things for them. And unfortunately, it was too late. But I didn't know. When they don't answer the phone, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
But that's that. And then, so Rebel, we have some photos to show, and then Howard, we're going to talk about your room and what you're wearing, because I'm curious to see what Ivanna says. That could be interesting. All right, Ivanna, let's talk about this. Interesting look.
This was a client of mine that was attending the Grammys earlier this year. Her son actually was up for 7 Grammys, and she was flown in to come and attend the event. So yeah, it's all about dressing the body shape. For me, it's not about, wearing the hottest designer or the hottest trend. I think for everyone, no matter who you are, the most confident that you will feel is if you're dressing according to your shape. So in this case, with this lady's body shape, you want to accentuate the waist area. You want to, draw attention to her best part of her body. You want to create the ideal body shape, which is hourglass. So that's basically what I focus on when I'm dressing people for special events, especially red carpet.
And you look interesting when like this. I like this stuff. I thought there was. I didn't even recognize that was you because I was just looking at the style and I liked it automatically. Talk about it.
For me, I like merging androgynous, masculine and feminine elements, but that's just my particular aesthetic. I feel like, you know, someone can go more down the feminine route, but I like mixing both elements when I'm dressing. So it's a very oversized, I would say, non-fitting suit, but with my body shape and with my style, that's something that I enjoy wearing.
I loved it. See, this is the woman that I met. She was feisty, speaking her truth, which I liked, and she had that empowerment. But it was also about the brand, and I like that because I immediately started telling her about Howard. Howard, I'm always talking about you, regardless. This one I liked.
This was the Oscars last year. This is Monica Barbaro from Top Gun. This was a very interesting dress that we had to really work on to obviously get it to looking how it is now. But, you know, the alterations behind a red carpet dress are like insanely incredible of what goes on behind the scenes. So, yeah, obviously you have a couple of fittings. There was a whole team of us working on this in particular. And obviously, like Top Gun being the movie at that point in time was, you know, one of the biggest films of the year. So she needed to definitely look the part. But yeah, she nailed the look on the red carpet. This is an everyday client that we transformed. Her confidence was literally like non-existent. Again, it came to dressing her body shape and really having to like, you know, see her potential, but getting her to see her potential. A lot of people don't have that confidence initially. So you really need to be able to communicate that vision to them quite quickly when you're working with them one-on-one. And that's with anyone, male or female. So yeah, if you guys have never invested in your wardrobe or your image, it's something to think about because it definitely plays a part in how people perceive you within like the first 30 seconds of someone coming into contact with you.
This movie, see, I have no style. So for me, it was about the movie. So we had this movie on in October. We were the first ones to grab it. And it's called The Man Who Saved the Internet. What we're doing now, his name is Rob Ryan and Terry Ryan, going back to the woman, his wife. One of the reasons that we're all video streaming and doing these things now. And that's very, very important because without his technology, we wouldn't have any of this stuff when it comes to what we're all doing on the internet now. So we got the quote for that. So that's what I'm pointing at. And now they ended up winning last Sunday audience award. So I was very, very happy for them. Obviously, they are billionaires now because we're all using the technology that he created. And I'm very, very happy for it. And it's called The Man Who Saved the Internet with a Sunflower. And so I have to thank you, Nicole Mew, for that, for helping us, because she said, let's get it in Brian's hands. Let's get them to watch it, and let's see what happens. And then it got into the film festival. So just like your product, Matt and Nick, just like Ivanna, that's why I want to have these things first. I like to be the first to push these things around. And this silly woman took this selfie of me, which I hate selfies, but I said, okay, go ahead and take it. And so that's how we became friends. And again, it was about what she was doing, and I liked that. And then she just made me laugh. And I said, we got to talk about what you do, because I really like what she does. And I had no idea that she was a stylist. And I said, oh, I can't wait for you to meet Howard Wiggins in Tennessee. So, see, she made me laugh. I forgot. I think she was teasing me, and I teased her back. And so I thought it was just a great thing. But again, this is why I want to take people's products and my friends. If I can't go, Jeremy, anything up north, Carol, you know, when we get together in Tennessee, when you get back, hooking up with Howard and everything like that. And Susan's starting to go to the events that I can't go to if Terry can't make it, and vice versa. And those things are important. And obviously, Jeremy will know these things because this is my favorite drum corps, the Santa Clara Vanguard. So every time I take my picture with the drummers, they always win best drums. So I keep that style going with them because that's important to me. And we just had fun because it's a great line. And then Jeremy, you'll find this interesting. This guy is, he's going to be on August right before Nationals. He's in the parking lot. He's creating these drum pads for people because DCI won't let him into the stadium. But he's getting this huge audience around, and I walked by because I didn't want to go into the stadium. And all of a sudden, all these drummers just come out. I don't know, just play on the pads. And he gave me a $90 pad. I didn't even ask for it. So I said, I'm going to have you on a show because it's always about exposing the arts to all of these people like that. And small business and entrepreneurs, I'm your friend. I'm your friend, not your enemy. I want to help get those things out there like that. So Howard, now that we saw her style, and you're that stylist guy, let's talk about what you're wearing and what room you're in.
Okay, well, first, you're right. People do judge you by the first 3 seconds because I've been in retail all my life. I feel like I look like a designer. People trust my opinion for the way I look. It also starts conversations. So I've always said, I personally would not use a designer that can't even dress themselves, because the same principles to do in a room are the same principles that you use when you do a design. Just like in a room, there's the general rules that that you're supposed to go by, but then you know how to break them once you learn them. But you've got a reason why you break them. So everything I explain to my customers, I'm giving a reason why I say paint the ceiling black, why this power is more powerful than that color. Or I tell them, people are so scared of colors. It's like, there's not a color that can go with any color. I can go to a field and pick flowers and arrange it. It's going to be beautiful. It's proportion, size, and where you want your eye to fall. I've got an interesting piece on. This piece here has a 5-carat diamond that I got from Stan Topol. It was his mother-in-law, and he was the interior designer that did Justin Bieber's home in Atlanta. He moved to out of state, and I bought that ring from him. And I thought, how am I going to take really a woman's engagement ring and make it mine? So Fran Roddell made my jewelry, so she put it on a Indian type piece and made it. So I kind of feel proud that I can wear that all the time. So not all the time, but every now and then. And then I change my look. Just like I tell people, I don't want to look the same every day. If you go through my Facebook, you'll see me with hats, no hats. I change all the time. I could be cowboy. I could be as 1950. I could be 1800s. I could be steampunk. I never know what I'm going to do. And that makes it exciting. So just like anything else, I like change. I don't want anything to be where it's predictable. So, and then this is my guest bedroom. It's very traditional, full of color. Actually, the wallpaper, you can't see much of it because I like lots and lots of stuff. But the wallpaper has 22 colors in it. I had it custom made, and I chose 22 colors, and had it made and put up on the wall. So just because I want to prove a point. Don't be scared of colors.
And he's right. He can look like anybody. There's days that he looks like Sean Connery, and I swear it's Sean Connery on. And then there's days that, he is James Brown dancing, and he is James Brown dancing because I got the videos to prove it. So, Jeremy, you're a stylist guy. Let's talk about this. We got a couple minutes. Why should people go on your podcast? Why should people check out all the things that you're doing? And what makes you unique?
That's 3 very big questions. So the thing about my podcast is I really like to go in depth in people because people are very, very interesting, and you can't capture somebody in 20 minutes. And about 20 minutes in, you see people start to relax and really start to talk about themselves. And so it's a really fun kind of vehicle for getting to know people, that long podcast thing that you can do. And as far as like what it is that I do, I work with people to not only just discover, but put down in writing their actual value, discover the incredible things about them, and do whatever it takes to actually remove the roadblocks that they've set up over a lifetime. If that's depression, if that's anxiety, whatever it is, we figure out the way to start shedding the heartbreak, the grief, the things that have been holding people back. And so I talk to people who do this kind of work on my podcast. I do it myself. I work with individuals. I work with groups doing this kind of thing. And some of the work is done through psychedelic medicine. Some of the work is just basically done through talking people through the way that they can heal their own hearts. And so that's the kind of work. I believe that everybody has the capacity to heal themselves. Everybody has the capacity to be inventive. And I am so excited really about what Ivanna is doing, because what she does is she helps people really express themselves. And I love what she was talking about with regard to how transformative style can be in a person's life when you feel like $1,000,000 because you're wearing the right thing. It goes so far into how you present yourself in the world, and it really does make a difference when you feel that way and you know you're projecting that way. And once in a while, I'll walk into a place and I'll be wearing a suit, and people treat you different when you look good. So I love what Ivanna does. I love that she's doing it in many different capacities, from people who are starting their small businesses to the red carpet. I'm fascinated by it because you're really incorporating this this self projection and this self improvement in it.
Jeremy, social media links real quick.
Go to mindfulmutiny.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. Just type in Mindful Mutiny anywhere. That's the name of my podcast, and you're going to find me.
And looking almost as dapper, if not dapper sometimes, depending what he's wearing, with Howard. These two are like that. I am not. Carol Register, tell them why they should be on Unleashed and Unstoppable.
Oh, hey, I really love what you just said, Jeremy and Ivanna. It's truly about our own empowerment. And empowering is sometimes, we all have trauma, and sometimes it's just a simple process of listening and asking the right questions, creating that psychological safety that we all need, the trust that we all need, because we do absolutely have the answers inside of us. I'm a firm believer in that, and that's a huge part of my process. And on the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, my co-host, who is Canadian, we take people through knowing some of the neuroscience tools that we're certified in and that we use. And we do more of a short form because our audience tends to be female entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders, CEOs, and they want strategy and action steps in a really concise, fast manner. But then when we have on guests like Brian and Jeremy upcoming, we love going deeper and drawing out the stories and finding those gold nuggets of wisdom. So we're across all the podcasting platforms you could ever think of. So please sign up. We'd love to have you follow us and share with you. And we'd love hearing from you, what you want to hear from us as well. So yeah, it's about empowerment for sure.
Social media links?
Carol Register on Facebook, LinkedIn, Carol Register 9 on Twitter, or X, sorry. YouTube is Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast. Same on Apple, Spotify. So, but you can find me on socials on IG and Facebook and LinkedIn is Carol Register.
Terry Marie, tell them how everybody can find you.
Nonstop Terry Marie on all platforms, and then my website is terrymarieofficial.com.
Nicholas?
AIRIWEAR on all platforms, and www.airiwear.com. It's our website where you get most of the information.
And Matt, talk about where they can get it, and congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. Right now we're selling through 3 direct channels: the airpurifier.com, the airpurifier.com. Let me get that out right. Amazon, and our personal website at the moment. We have some tests in the work, but right now at the moment we're available via .com.
Sue, talk about your book.
Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and even on Walmart, walmart.com. Empowered Communication C-Suite. And you can find me on Instagram, Sue's Post, as well as Sue's Post Music Reviews, which Brian kind of inspired. And you can find me on Facebook as Susan Postnikoff, and you can find me on LinkedIn as Susan Postnikoff.
Howard Wiggins.
Howard Wiggins Facebook, but I do want to share a story today that happened to me. I'm in sales, and after my sales, the lady said, "Can I give you a hug?" And I'm like, "Sure." And it's like part of the air that you put off when you have confidence and things like that. It gives people confidence in their choice when you have confidence on what you're showing them. So at work, they want us to write thank you notes, and I never have, because I feel like if I'm doing my job, you're going to thank me. I don't have to thank you, because I am helping you. You're not helping me, really. It's just I'm helping you. So they always thank me all the time. So I just want to share that. And then Howard Wiggins' Facebook, and of course, movies, reviews, and more. And Brian puts me on Instagram and things like that.
Ivanna, you get the last word.
Thank you so much. You can find me on my website, ivannafontana.com, and all social platforms, Ivanna Fontana on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, all of the above. Just Ivanna Fontana.
And I want to thank everybody for coming on, because it's never easy when it's Hollywood Squares, but I think we made it work. I'm happy for that. And I always say this: have a good night tonight, a better day tomorrow. If you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it. Thank you, everybody. I'm Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more, and we will see you next week.
I'll bet the alumni are pretending it's their fucking business as well.